morning, Monday. I always think it's Monday. It's Saturday, May 7th. A little sun on my face here, driving to the farmer's market. We'll let this video stand as my acknowledgement, at least in this content format, of the recognition regarding the continual encroachment on our free speech and what the wider implications are, especially for those that don't quite grasp the deeper meaning of speech in and of itself. So I was just watching the New World Next Week, phenomenal 30-minute broadcast, keeps you up to date on some of the current events with James Corbett and James Evan Pilato, each with their own respective channels as well. And it was discussing the recent signatory event of the 60 other countries that signed the same policy that the United States just did in regards to their, what are they calling it? Department of Misinformation, the 1984 style government agency that has now set itself up in order to determine what you can and cannot say online in a very formal declaration. You know, we used to think we could say what we wanted out there, and now they're using authoritarian powers to restrict your free speech in the name of free speech. It's right there in how they're wording it. For those that can't see what this is at face value, you probably aren't watching this channel, and your head's so far up your rear end, you probably wouldn't even recognize anything that's transpiring during your entire life, because the argument regarding, I guess the usual flag to throw is hate speech and hurting people's feelings, and how someone has to control that stems from the wider mind control program that's been in place regarding the Nanny State, and how the government acts as the mother/father, depending on what you're deficient or mentally handicapped in, and how you look to the government to supply you with one of those roles, if not both of those roles. So in the case of free speech, I don't know, you probably interpret it either way. You would see someone hurting your feelings online, right? Oh, they shouldn't say that, even though they have the right to do that unequivocally. And so you would feel hurt, and now you want someone to tend to your wounds. You would want mother to comfort you, and you would want father to reproach them. So it's kind of a two sides of the same coin. Not only do you want the government to step in and stop people from doing what they have an unalienable right to do, which is to express their thoughts, which is fundamental beyond description, but you also want them to carry out some sort of punishment, as if the restriction of ideas and the free flow of thought is not restriction enough. I'll also include in the, link, whatever people say, show notes, this isn't a show, the mini documentary put out by Truth Stream Media, I think that's what they're called, phenomenal couple that makes these really good documentary style. They're definitely based in their opinion, and they're not hiding that. That was talking about the closing in of the internet. The internet is getting smaller, and this video dovetails into the one I recently posted, even though I recorded it a few months ago, regarding the internet being the potential of our greatest tool at our disposal. However, they are restricting the capabilities of that tool. So they gave it to us, it was provided to us in a completely open capacity, and so that's what led to the widespread adoption of it. Yeah, there were some financial hurdles and a short but steep learning curve in the very beginning. If you're my age, you would remember you first got introduced to the internet or the World Wide Web on Netscape probably back in a computer class in school, right? And since then, within half a generation, it's become so ubiquitously adopted that anyone right now, 30 years or younger, probably didn't have a childhood without a phone in some capacity, and anyone 20 years or younger can't really grasp the concept of what life without a phone. In this case, that attachment is virtually synonymous with connectivity to the internet. And the internet is fabulous. Again, tools are just that. They are amoral. They have neither good nor bad. But it's manipulation against us in what we're now seeing in censorship. So if our greatest tool is knowledge, right? That's the thought here, okay? In the trivium, that's the first piece, the information. If our greatest tool is knowledge, and the internet is the way to disperse, spread, share that knowledge, if that's restricted in any way, our greatest tool is now being restricted. And it's not being curtailed equally, right? This is that whole idea of rules for thee, not for me. So they opened up the floodgates. Everyone got to use the internet however they wanted, and now they're cutting in at certain corners. And those that only use YouTube and Facebook, and again have their heads up their sandy butt, are not realizing what's being eliminated. And what's being eliminated are these giant swaths of alternative to the formal narrative. That's the word we'll use, which in this case would be truth. Alternative ideas are being eliminated, like straight up deleted from the internet. You'll see in that video that I share from TruthStream Media that the Google search results might be displaying 3 billion, but in reality it's only like 200 or 300, and they are the ones they want you to see. You know, kids these days, as silly of a sentence as that is, think that Facebook and YouTube is the internet. They use that as a search query, not realizing how biased it is, and not biased in a way that will enhance their life long term. But they're so in a box of it that they can't see the forest for the trees. And this may appear subtle, but this may be one of the most significant displays of tyranny or slavery that we're seeing perpetuated on a worldwide scale. Again, most people cannot deny when something physical happens. You know, war breaks out, and they're like, what a calamity. But this is a direct declaration of a war on your mind, to the point where they're saying you can't even share your ideas if they do not coincide with our official narrative. This is vastly more significant than the burning of books, if only because everyone already has, to a wide degree, a cell phone where they are connected to the theoretical ability to access information. If that information is being removed, restricted, or in some cases where they're going in, taking the name of an author, the name of a creator, hijacking the account, and now manipulating the account and content that is otherwise assumed to be under that content creator's name. And that, yes, this is happening. That is more damning than the burning of the books, because it's not like everyone already had that book and they're coming in and physically taking it, so much as we're all accustomed to this type of connection, so it's affecting more people instantaneously. Let me draw you another concept. I definitely feel that I'm very much activated in my awakening regarding truth. But let's say it's me 5 years ago, before this all kicked off. The vast majority of my information I have been able to access through the internet, we are entering into a world where it will become significantly more difficult for me, let's say a future version of me, or if I was starting my journey right now, to come across, discover, find, query the same material unless I know exactly what I'm looking for. Okay? It is reducing the exposure of the information. It's reducing the likelihood of discovery. That's what it is. Reducing the likelihood of discovery unless you have a very specific query. In other words, I wouldn't know that I wasn't finding the information. Now that's going to significantly stunt my ability to learn, grow, enhance, come to know truth, and therefore take action. And you can merely extrapolate that. Let's say you had 1 million people in my position that were like, I think something's going on and I'd like to go search it, like today and as we go into the future. Those 1 million people are less likely to come across the resources necessary in order to cultivate their discovery of truth. So that means that many fewer will take will be able to continue on that path. Higher degree of failure is what it comes down to. Again, unless they know. But if they're not already following these people and have bookmarked their RSS feed, or know about some other channel to find them on once they get canceled on another one, they'll never find them, right? You can see how damaging this will be. You know, and this isn't even addressing how this Ministry of Information Disinformation, again, straight out of 1984, how come they get to decide what is right and what is wrong, you know? First of all, it's absolutely heinous to have any mechanism that is curtailing information or speech, right? That's bad thing number one. Number two is, how can we know that the mechanism is making the right decisions? And three, it's the fucking government, so we go back to number two. Yeah, we can know that they aren't. So they're intentionally making decisions that benefit them and harm us. Now, if that's not bad enough, and it absolutely is, there's even a larger metaphysical factor at play here, because it's not just about the proliferation of information online, right? And another side of this disgusting coin is how they are raping your data, stealing your data, and prying into your data, your private life, without your permission, right? There's so many sides to this. But the larger metaphysical factor at play, when they are reducing this free flow of information, we're going to summarize that as eliminating free speech. Speech is a very important aspect of our species. Yes, animals communicate, yes, plants communicate, but there is something fundamentally different about our language system and systems, the different languages that we have, both historically and modern, not counting all the dialects. And even if you want to get biblical with it, for those that have any credence to the Bible, the idea that the earth was spoken into existence. This is lending credence to the gravity of what the spoken word is. Speaking, and obviously singing, which is this more like refined artistic form of speech. Speaking is perhaps the primary, if not foremost, expression of our ability to create. And we take it for granted. We throw words out willy-nilly, not fully grasping the implications of what the spoken word holds. For those that understand what I'm saying, this goes far beyond just the idea that there's this chemical firing in my brain, and there's an idea, and then I translate it into words, and it comes out in little bits of data, zeros and ones coming out of my mouth. No, there's something vastly more magical than that regarding speech. And I'm not going to spend time to peel those layers away right now. I'm going to put that out there. And so those that grasp what speech is in regards to what we are as humans, now you're starting to see the wider implications of what the elimination of speech really entails, right? Yeah, it looks like they're hacking away at our constitutional rights. But this is an attack on something much more visceral and primal in a magical sense, for lack of a better term, in regards to who we are as the human species and what speech means to us on a level even beyond the 5 sensory, right? This is an attack on something more than just the physical realm and the physical body. This is an attack, and I don't know the realms well enough, but this is an attack on our mental, emotional body, perhaps the astral body, if not the etheric, because of what it is suggesting they can prohibit us to do. All right, at 17 minutes, let this video stand as a bookmark regarding the encroachment of our free speech as they seek to reduce the internet, restrict what people can post, can say, can share online, and what the wider implications of that are in regards to our foundational, natural, human, cosmic rights as human beings here on this planet and in the greater cosmos itself. All right, time for the farmer's market.